The dispute within the ruling NCP party has come to the fore again as the party remains undecisive on its common candidate for the post of House Speaker. Even as there was initial agreement on the issue, but high-ranking leaders, including Executive Chairman Dahal, this time seem in no mood to relent to what they say Prime Minister Oli's high-handedness. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. Factionalism within the ruling Nepal Communist Party intensifies regarding the candidate for the new House Speaker. Disgruntled faction urges Prime Minister Oli to do away with unilateral ways. Many populist programs announced by the government remain stranded due to the lack of work procedures. Projects worth 15 billion rupees turn fruitless. Millions of voters in Taiwan going to the polls to elect a new president. The election result to shape the island's relationship with mainland China. And India clinched T20 series against Sri Lanka, register another big victory in the match played at Pune yesterday. The issue of the Speaker's appointment has once again seemed to polarize the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Even as differences had come to the surface during the power sharing between the two chairmen of the ruling party, the issue has further created rift within the party. We have a report.
Chairman KP Sharma Oli had tried to address the differences by giving what he said executive rights to the other chairman of the party, Pushpakamal Dahal. Chairman Oli had also given ministerial portfolios to the other critics within the party in a bid to address any kind of rift in the party. However, the party members have continued to criticize Oli's leadership, calling it his high-handedness in dealing with different party affairs. Executive Chairman Dahal and other high-profile leaders of the likes of Chalnath Khanal, Madhav Nepal, Bamdev Gautam, among others, had held a separate meeting last Wednesday against Oli's power-sharing deal in the party. During the meeting, the leaders had firmly stood against Chairman Oli, citing that he should opt between the post of Prime Minister and the Speaker.
सचिवालयमै कुराहरू उठेका छन् यो कुराहरू त यो स्टाइल अफ जो फंक्सनिङ छ यो समाजवादी खालको भएन भन्ने कुरा त सबैतिरबाट उठेको छ नि त समाजवादी खालको नै हुनु पर्यो हैन त त्यसो हुनाले अब हामी त एउटा युनाइटेड फ्रन्ट बनाएको पनि होइन हामी त पार्टी एउटै बनाउन हिँडेका पार्टी एउटै बनाउँदै छौं त त्यो पार्टी एउटै बनाउनको निम्ति त्यही प्रकारको विराट भावना चाहियो त्यो साँगुरोपनबाट त्यो मेरोपनबाट मैले भनेको मान्छे होस् मैले चाहेको व्यक्ति होस् भनेर त भएन मैले भनिसके कि सभामुख चलाउन सक्छ कसले भन्ने कुरा यदि गर्ने हो भने योग्यताको कुरा गर्ने हो भने एभ्री कुक क्यान रुल प्रत्येक भान्सेले शासन गर्न सक्छ पेरिस कम्युनमा गरेर देखायो.
The disgruntled faction in the party view that Chairman Oli had his say in the appointment of most of the crucial posts, including President, Prime Minister, and National Assembly Chairman. The issue of the Speaker's appointment is now stuck as Chairman Oli had staked his claim for the former UML faction of the party.
राजनीतिक दलहरूलाई समेत एकताबद्ध बनाएर राष्ट्रको सीमा र वैदेशिक हस्तक्षेपका विरुद्ध सिंगो राष्ट्रलाई एकताबद्ध बनाइरहनु भएको छ र त्यो पार्टी भित्रका पनि विभिन्न मनोविज्ञानहरू बुझेर या पुरानो माओवादी समूह होस् या पुरानै नेकपा एमाले भित्रकै पनि भिन्न समूहहरूलाई बुझेर नेताहरूको व्यवस्थापन गर्नुभएको छ. यहाँभन्दा राम्रो उत्कृष्ट व्यवस्थापन कसैले पनि गर्न सक्छ भन्ने मलाई विश्वास छैन. यो व्यवस्थापन गर्दा गर्दै पनि फेरि पनि अनि एउटा चाहिँ गुटबन्दीमा या अन्य प्रकारका चाहिँ विशेष प्रकारका चाहिँ चाहना राख्दै अनि छुट्टै प्रकारका बैठक र भेलाहरू हुनु वाञ्छनीय हुँदैन.
A section of the party rank also believes that if an understanding on the issue of Speaker's appointment could not be reached, it should be discussed in the party secretariat. Given the scenario, it seems that the issue is likely to further flare up within the ruling party in the coming days.
A number of populist programs announced by the government in its annual budget has been in a fix. The development programs have remained stranded even almost halfway to the end of the current fiscal year. The lack of required work procedures on the part of the concerned government authorities has rendered the development projects worth around 15 billion rupees fruitless. This has increased the risk of the allotted amount being abused under random headings like the Prime Minister's employment programs announced last year. The highest 5 billion rupees has been allocated for the President's Education Reform Fund in the current fiscal year. However, no working procedure to implement the program has been formulated even after more than 7 months since the budget announcement. Likewise, several other programs aimed at mobilizing the youth population in the country's development along with securing their employment rights and the projects aimed at significant infrastructure development, among others, have been undergoing the same kind of hindrance. As per a study by the government itself, as much as 60% of political programs included in the annual budget without required groundworks often tend to turn unsuccessful. Although the Public Procurement Review Commission has suggested the government to come up with such programs only after clear planning through due procedure, the government has remained indifferent in this regard. And it's now time for a short break. For more news, do stay with us. The Patan High Court yesterday issued an interim order not to implement the agreement to provide about 2 ropenis of land in Darbar Marga in lease for 30 years to Thamserku Trekking Company under Yeti Holdings. The land is owned by Nepal Trust. A bench of Justice Nakul Subedi issued the directive to suspend the implementation of the lease agreement until 15th of January, which is coming Wednesday, citing that the agreement contradicts with the existing Public Procurement Act. Meanwhile, the court has summoned the representatives of Nepal Trust and Yeti Holdings for discussion on 15th of January in this regard. As per the agreement forged with the government, the trekking company has already started constructing commercial buildings in the land. Advocate Paribartan Rai had filed a writ at the Patan High Court last Wednesday demanding that the agreement should be scrapped, citing that the deal has turned suspicious after the Nepal Trust decided to lease the land to Thamserku for 4.86 billion rupees, the amount proposed by the trekking company itself. And time for international update. Millions of voters in Taiwan are going to the polls to elect a new president in a decision that will save the island's relationship with mainland China. Tsai Ing-wen, running for a second term, favors the status quo and does not want closer ties with Beijing. Meanwhile, her main rival Han Kuo promises to ease tensions with China. 2 years ago, Tsai's party lost the local elections, but she is now ahead in the polls, which some observers attribute to the Hong Kong protest. Tsai has expressed support for the protesters, a popular stance with those who fear Taiwan being overtaken by mainland China. Elections for Taiwan's legislature, where Tsai's party hold a majority, are also taking place. About 19 million people are registered to vote in today's election, and results are expected before the end of the day. For practical purposes, Taiwan is an independent state. It has its own elected government, constitution, and military. But China has claimed sovereignty over it since the end of the Chinese Civil War in 1949. It says Taiwan must eventually be reunited with mainland China by force if necessary. China refuses to have diplomatic relations with any country that recognizes Taiwan as a sovereign country. And we have more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break. And in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local representatives and stakeholders at Panchta district how to identify the genuine poverty-stricken families. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
उसलाई कहाँनिर राज्यले सपोर्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ ऊ अरूको लेभलमा आउँछ भन्ने कुरा पहिचान गर्नु पर्यो।
हामीले गर्ने पहुँचको आधारमा चाहिँ सबै जनता एउटै हुन्। त्यहाँ विभेद पार्टीगत जातिगत लिङ्ग वर्गको आधारमा गर्नु हुँदैन।
नागरिकहरू चाहिँ यो मेरो हो अर्थात् हाम्रो राज्यको हो, मैले यसलाई चाहिँ पूर्व गरेर राख्नु हुँदैन भनेर जसको चाहिँ भित्र मन आत्माबाटै आउँछ उसले मात्रै गर्न सक्ने कुरो हो।
गरिब घरहरूलाई क ख ग गर्दै प्राथमिकताको आधारमा छुट्याएर पहिचान गर्नुपर्छ।
एउटा राजनीतिक पार्टीले अर्को राजनीतिक पार्टीको मान्छेलाई गरिब छ भने त्यसलाई चाहिँ नि सिफारिस नगर्ने कुरा त होइन, यो त सबैको साझा समस्या हो।
उल्लो घरको पल्लो घरलाई बुझेर के छ अवस्था कसो छ भनेर चाहिँ गणकहरूले सूक्ष्म तरिकाले पनि बुझ्न सकोस्।
And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
What's your take on the lack of implementation of programs given priority by political leadership? Your options are A, programs without legwork, option B, bureaucratic lapses, and option C, indifference of political leadership. The voting for the question is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share opinion with us. And let's move on to sports update.
स्पोर्ट्स न्यूज brought to you by अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको हङ्सी सिमेन्ट शक्तिको प्रति उत्कृष्ट ब्रान्ड वर्मोरा टाइल्स एन्ड बाथवेयर इनोभेटिङ ह्याप्पिनेस अफिस घर सबैको लागि वैज्ञानिक प्रविधि भएको V1 अफिस चेयर गुड पोस्चर बेटर हेल्थ मजबुत निर्माण बन्छ अम्बे स्टिल्सले अम्बे स्टिल्स जे बन्छ दिगो बन्छ पञ्चकन्या CPVC पाइप एन्ड फिटिङ सर्वोत्तम सिमेन्ट सर्वोत्तम मजबुती एक्सेल बिजनेस कलेज न्यू बानेश्वर काठमाडौँ हरेक निर्माण मजबुतीको प्रमाण हाईटेक OPC सिमेन्ट सनफ्लो रिफाइन्ड सनफ्लावर ओइल ओरिजिनल खोज्नुस् सनफ्लो नै रोज्नुस् अम्बे सिमेन्ट यो देशको शिर उच्च राख्दै
Sheffield United have registered a controversial 1-0 win over West Ham in the English Premier League match late last night. Following a goalless first half, Sheffield broke the deadlock in the 53rd minute, taking advantage of an error by West Ham keeper David Martin. Oli McBurney made full use of the howler to score the goal, which proved decisive, lifting Chris Wilder's team into the 5th place. There was high drama in the injury time as the whole spectrum of joy to despair arrived for West Ham when Robert Snodgrass' strike was ruled out after VAR assistance. West Ham manager David Moyes was left cursing his goalkeeper problems and the cruelest of video assistant referee decisions after the match. The defeat for West Ham means that the team is just 2 points clear of the relegation zone. India have clinched the 3-match T20 series against Sri Lanka with another crossing victory yesterday. In the third T20 match yesterday, India registered a 78-run victory. Sent into bat first in Pune's Maharashtra Cricket Stadium, India amassed 201 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. The foundation for the big total was set by Lokesh Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan, who put on 97 runs for the opening wicket partnership. Dhawan top scored with 52 runs, while Lokesh Rahul made 45 runs. In reply, Sri Lanka were bowled out for 123 runs in the 16th over. Dhananjay De Silva top scored for Lankans with 57 runs. Navdeep Saini was the pick of the Indian bowlers with 3 wickets. And it's now time for our special segment, Media Watch.
The Kantipur Economic Summit 2020 was held in Kathmandu on Thursday with an aim of determining the line of action for the country's economic development. Various industrialists, traders, politicians, government officials, along with experts participated in the summit. Speaking as a keynote speaker at the Kantipur Economic Summit organized by Kantipur Media Group, former Vice Chairman of the National Planning Commission, Professor Pitambar Sharma stated that the issue of economic development could not gain priority despite the same political power having its hold on all the 3 tiers of the government and the immense opportunity generated by political stability. Talking on the issue of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, Professor Sharma said that if there had been enough discussion on the issue, the multi-billion rupee project would not have landed in controversy. Meanwhile, speakers at the Kantipur Economic Summit 2020 said the complexity in the procedure of development projects has delayed work and projects. Speakers at the summit raised the issue of complexity while implementing the documented projects into actions. The 122 Chinese nationals arrested around 3 weeks ago over allegations of illegal activities in Nepal were deported to China on Wednesday. The Chinese nationals accused of swindling other Chinese nationals and operating their works from Nepal were deported according to Nepal's Aviation Act. The district administration office handed each Chinese national a fine of 1,000 rupees for indecent act. The Chinese nationals were taken into custody on immigration charges. The Department of Immigration slapped 22 individuals a fine of 2,000 rupees and the other 100 Chinese nationals a fine of 1,000 rupees each for violating immigration rules by working on tourist visas. According to the Department of Immigration, the Chinese embassy took care of all the fines. The Chinese nationals were escorted to the Tribhuvan International Airport amid tight security on Wednesday. China chartered 2 planes to fly the arrested Chinese nationals back home. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for Kantipur News Desk.
And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Factionalism within the ruling Nepal Communist Party intensifies regarding the candidate for new House Speaker. Disgruntled faction urges Prime Minister Oli to do away with unilateral ways. Many populist programs announced by the government remain stranded due to the lack of work procedures. Projects worth 15 billion rupees turned fruitless. Millions of voters in Taiwan going to the polls to elect a new president. The election result to save the island's relationship with mainland China. And India clinched T20 series against Sri Lanka, register another big victory in the match played at Pune yesterday. And that's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin at 11 this morning. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Have a good day.